Primate is not a good movie. It is horror candy, and if you're looking for layers, this film is not interested in you. And I want to start there because once you accept that framing, the rest of the conversation becomes much easier. This is not a film that wants to be unpacked or interpreted. It does not want to linger with you or challenge you or complicate your relationship to horror. It wants to give you a sensation, a rush, a reaction, and then it wants to be over. That does not automatically make it worthless, but it does define the relationship the film has with its audience. Everything in Primate is surface level by design. The characters are thin, the relationships are functional, the story exists to move you from one escalation to the next. There's no curiosity here about human behavior or moral consequences. The movie is not asking questions. It's presenting a scenario and committing to it aggressively as possible. The setup is incredibly simple. A chimpanzee raised by a family becomes the threat. Once that switch flips, the movie does not hesitate. It does not soften or turn or complicate it. It locks in its characters, it's confined to its space, and it lets the situation deteriorate increasingly brutal ways. And to be clear, the film knows exactly what it's doing. There is no pretense here. It is not pretending to be elevated or metaphorical or emotionally rich. It is a survival thriller that treats your attention like a thrill ride. You're either strapped in or you get off. And what makes this interesting to talk about is that Primate does the bad things well. The intensity is real. The danger feels constant. The film establishes early on that nobody is protected, and it follows through with that promise. And that alone creates tension even when the characters themselves do not feel fully realized. This is where the horror candy comparison really lands for me. Like candy, it is engineered for immediate gratification. The sweetness hits fast. The impact is strong, but there is nothing sustaining underneath it. You're not nourished by it, you are stimulated by it. That kind of horror works best when the audiences know what they are signing up for. And that is where tolerance becomes everything. This is not casual horror, it leans closer to extreme horror in how relentless it is. It is not interested in giving you breathing room or emotional release. It wants to keep pressure on you. Some viewers will walk out energized by that, and others will feel worn down and detached by the time it ends. Neither reaction is wrong. They just say different things about what you want from that genre. What Primate does not do is ask you to care deeply about the people on screen beyond the family dynamic. The characters exist to be in place in danger. Their backstories and relationships function mostly as positioning, and when something happens to them, the reaction is visceral rather than emotional. You flinch not because you love them, but because the situation is unpleasant to witness. Still, the film does try to give you just enough empathy to make the character connection. In that sense, the film feels like a throwback to certain kind of 80s horror. A group of people, a contained location, a single overwhelming threat. The story exists only to justify the setup. There is a strange comfort in that simplicity, especially for audiences who want horror to feel mechanical and efficient rather than reflective. This movie has a ton of marketing, and that marketing almost killed the movie for me. I saw the trailer repeatedly, and it made everything feel irritating and obvious. The characters felt grating. Several moments were clearly telegraphed long before I even sat down to watch. That kind of exposure does a movie like this no favors. And when escalation and surprise are your primary tools, giving too much away drains that experience before it begins. I am glad I saw it anyway. I still would not call Primate a good film, but I understand it's better in context. This is not a movie you analyze. It's a movie you endure. It is meant to be watched with other people, feeding off shared tension and discomfort. It is a group experience more than a personal one. That is why the theatrical release choice is interesting. This feels like a movie that would thrive on late night cable or packed living room watch where commentary and reactions become part of the fun. But over time, that may be where it finds its audience. The animal predator concept itself is not new. Cujo has been a part of horror culture for decades, and Primate does nothing to reinvent the idea. What it offers instead is heightened intensity and willingness to push the experience further than some mainstream audiences expect. If word of mouth spreads among viewers actively looking for that kind of horror, the film could find a second life beyond its initial release window. But that depends entirely on the audience finding it and not stumbling into it by accident. And at the end of the day, Primate knows what it is. It does not aim for substance, it aims for sensation. If you're looking for meaning, character, depth, or something that's to sit with you after the credits roll, this will leave you cold. And if you're looking to shut off your brain, lean into the chaos, and get your horror fix, it delivers exactly that. It is horror candy, and you get the rush, and then you move on. Appreciate you going on this film journey with me, and as always, be real.